Dante Moretti had not stepped foot in his father's old casino in 8 years, not since the night his sister was murdered there by a rival family. But when his security called at 3 a.m. saying a woman was being attacked on the casino floor by 30 drunk men, he broke that vow, because some rules are meant to be broken when innocence is being destroyed. And the men laughing as they surrounded her, they were about to learn what happens when you touch something that doesn't belong to you in Dante Moretti's world. Where are you watching from? Drop your country or city in the comments below. And if you want exclusive access to bonus content and early releases, click that join button to become a member. The Palazzo Nero Casino sat on the waterfront of Palermo, Sicily. It was a relic from another era when Dante's father, Giovanni Moretti, ran the Sicilian underworld with an iron fist and old world honor. Giovanni had died 5 years ago, leaving everything to his son. But Dante had closed the casino the night his sister Valentina was killed there by the rival Rossi family. It was too painful, too full of ghosts. Now, at 3:17 a.m. on a Tuesday in October, Dante's phone shattered the silence of his bedroom. "Boss, we have a situation at Palazzo Nero." Marco, his head of security, never called unless blood was about to be spilled. "I closed that casino 8 years ago. Why the hell are you there?" "Someone broke in, turned on the power. There's a private party happening. 30 men, and..." Marco's voice dropped. "Boss, there's a woman. They have her cornered. It's not good." Dante was already pulling on his clothes. "Don't let anyone leave. I'm 10 minutes away." He made it in 7. The casino blazed with light, music pounding through the walls. Dante's blood ran cold. This was supposed to be sealed, empty, a tomb for memories he couldn't bear to face. He walked through the front entrance, and the scene before him made his vision go red. 30 men in expensive suits crowded the main floor, drinks in hand, laughing and jeering. At the center, backed against the roulette table, was a woman. She was young, maybe 25, with long dark hair that fell in waves over her shoulders. She wore a simple black dress that marked her as waitstaff, not a guest. Her face was pale with terror, but her dark eyes burned with defiance even as her hands trembled. 5 men surrounded her directly, reaching for her, while the others formed a circle, blocking any escape. "Come on, Bella," one of them slurred, grabbing at her wrist. "We paid good money for this private party. You're part of the entertainment, aren't you?" "I'm a waitress," she said, her voice shaking but firm. "I was hired to serve drinks. That's all. Let me leave." "You'll leave when we say you can leave," another man laughed, his hand reaching for the hem of her dress. That's when Dante spoke. His voice was quiet, barely above a whisper, but 30 men went silent instantly. "Don't touch her." Every head turned. The music kept playing, but the air changed, became heavier, dangerous. Dante walked forward slowly, his footsteps echoing on the marble floor. He wore all black, black suit, black shirt, black tie. His dark hair was slightly tousled from the drive, his jaw set with barely contained rage. At 6'3", with the build of someone who'd spent years training in combat, he commanded attention without effort. "Who the hell are you?" one of the drunk men demanded, puffing up his chest. Dante's eyes, cold, gray, like a winter storm, swept over him with the kind of look that made men reconsider their life choices. I'm the man who owns this building, this casino, this city. His voice remained quiet, but it carried absolute authority. And you're trespassing. You paid someone who had no authority to grant access. This casino is closed, has been for 8 years, which means you broke in. Dante's gaze shifted to the woman, taking in her terrified face, her torn sleeve, the bruise forming on her wrist where she'd been grabbed. And you assaulted someone under my protection. We didn't know. You know now. Dante gestured to Marco and his men, who materialized from the shadows. 20 armed security personnel surrounding 30 drunk businessmen. Everyone against the wall. Phones, wallets, IDs on the floor. Now, the men hesitated. Dante pulled his gun from his shoulder holster and aimed it casually at the ceiling. He fired once. The sound was deafening. Plaster rained down. Now, they moved, scrambling, terrified, suddenly very sober. Dante walked to the woman, who stood frozen against the roulette table. Up close, he could see she was shaking violently, her breath coming in short gasps. He holstered his gun and raised his hands slowly, palms out, showing he meant no harm. You're safe now, he said softly, his voice completely different than the cold command he'd used with the men. I'm Dante. What's your name? She stared at him for a long moment, her dark eyes searching his face for deception. Isabella, she whispered. Isabella. He repeated her name like a prayer. Did they hurt you? No, they tried, but tears spilled over. I thought they were going to. They weren't. They're never going to touch you again. He turned to Marco without looking away from Isabella. Get their information. I want names, addresses, employers, families, everything. And find out who gave them access to this building. Bring that person to me. What about them? Marco gestured to the 30 men. Let them go after they understand the consequences. Dante finally turned, his gaze sweeping over the terrified crowd. You came to my city. You broke into my property. You terrorized an innocent woman. Any of you ever set foot in Palermo again, you disappear. Understand? 30 heads nodded frantically. Get them out of here. As Marco's men herded the men toward the exits, Dante turned back to Isabella. She was hugging herself, still shaking. Her hair had fallen forward, hiding her face. Hey, he said gently. Look at me. She raised her eyes, and the vulnerability there hit him like a physical blow. Come with me. I have a private office upstairs. You can sit, have water, catch your breath, then I'll have someone drive you home. Is that okay? Isabella nodded slowly. Okay. He offered his arm, old-fashioned and respectful. After a moment, she took it, her hand barely resting on his sleeve. As they walked toward the grand staircase, Dante caught their reflection in one of the massive mirrors. Him, dark and dangerous. Her, delicate and scared. They looked like they belonged in two different worlds. But something in his chest tightened, and he knew with absolute certainty that he was going to make sure she was safe, no matter what it took. The office had been his father's. Dante hadn't been inside since Giovanni's funeral, but muscle memory guided him to the hidden bar, where he poured Isabella water with steady hands and himself whiskey with trembling ones. He handed her the glass. Drink, it'll help. She obeyed, taking small sips, while her eyes darted around the opulent room. Leather furniture, dark wood, floor-to-ceiling bookshelves, and a massive desk that had witnessed decades of underworld dealings. "Why was the casino closed?" she asked suddenly. Dante sat across from her, maintaining distance so she wouldn't feel trapped. "My sister died here 8 years ago. Valentina. She was 21, beautiful, full of life." His voice grew rough. "A rival family, the Rossi, shot her during a power struggle. She was just in the wrong place at the wrong time. An innocent caught in a war she had nothing to do with." Isabella's expression softened. "I'm so sorry. I closed this place the next day. Couldn't stand to look at it. Couldn't stand the memories." He took a long drink. "I should have demolished it, but I couldn't. It was my father's legacy. Valentina loved it here. Tearing it down felt like erasing her." "You loved her very much." "She was my world, my responsibility." His gray eyes met hers. "I failed her. I wasn't there when she needed me." "It wasn't your fault, wasn't it?" He laughed bitterly. "I'm the head of the Moretti family. It's my job to protect everyone under my name, and I couldn't protect her." Isabella set down her glass and leaned forward slightly. "You protected me tonight." The simple statement hit harder than any accusation could have. "Tell me what happened," Dante said, changing the subject. "How did you end up here?" Isabella took a shaky breath. "I work 3 jobs: waitress during the day at Cafe Lucia, bartender at night at El Porto, and sometimes I take private catering gigs to make extra money. Tonight, I got a call from an event coordinator. Giuseppe, I think his name was. He said a company needed a waitress for a private party at a closed casino. Good pay. Just serve drinks for 3 hours." "You didn't think it was strange?" "I did, but..." She looked down. "I needed the money. My brother, Luca, he's 17. He got into some trouble with the wrong people. Owes money. I've been trying to pay it off before." She stopped. "Before what?" "Before they hurt him." Her voice broke. "He's just a kid. He made a stupid mistake. I can't let him pay for it with his life." Dante's jaw clenched. "Who does he owe?" "I don't know. Some local gang. They come by our apartment every week demanding payment." "How much?" 15,000 euros. Dante pulled out his phone and made a call. "Marco, I need you to find out about a debt collection happening in Palermo. Teenage boy named Luca, sister named Isabella. 15,000 euros. Find who's running it and make it disappear. Tonight." He paused. "Yes, pay it from my personal account, and make sure those collectors understand the boy is under Moretti protection now. Anyone touches him, they answer to me." Isabella's eyes went wide. "What are you doing?" Dante ended the call. "Taking care of it. I can't accept that. I don't even know you. That's 15,000. It's nothing to me. It's everything to you." He leaned forward. "Isabella, listen to me carefully. You walked into danger tonight because you were trying to protect your brother. That kind of loyalty, that kind of love, it's rare, it's precious. I'm not going to let you or him suffer because of a debt to some bottom feeder gang." "But why? Why would you help us?" Dante was quiet for a long moment. "Because I couldn't save Valentina. But I can save you." Tears spilled down Isabella's cheeks. "I don't know what to say. Say you'll let me drive you home. Say you'll let me make sure you and Luca are safe." He reached out slowly, giving her time to pull away, and gently wiped a tear from her cheek with his thumb. "Say you'll trust me, just a little?" She nodded, unable to speak. Over the next 3 weeks, everything changed. Dante had Isabella's debt erased within 24 hours. The men who'd been harassing Luca disappeared, not dead, but relocated to very unpleasant jobs in very distant cities where they'd think twice before preying on vulnerable people again. He made sure Isabella didn't have to work 3 jobs anymore. He bought Café Lucia, where she worked during the day, and gave her a significant raise with better hours. He didn't do it, obviously, worked through intermediaries so she wouldn't feel like charity, but he made sure she was comfortable, and he found himself visiting the cafe every morning. At first, he told himself it was business. He had to check on his new investment, but the truth was simpler, more dangerous. He wanted to see her. Isabella was different from anyone he'd ever known. She was kind, but not naive, strong, but not hardened. She treated him like a person, not a weapon. She laughed at his dark humor. She called him out when he was being too controlling, and slowly, carefully, she began to trust him. They started having coffee together every morning, just 20 minutes before the cafe opened, sitting at the corner table while Palermo woke up around them. "You don't have to keep coming here," Isabella said one morning, her dark eyes sparkling with amusement. "I know you own the place. You don't have to check on me. Maybe I like the coffee." "We both know that's a lie. You have an espresso machine in your house that costs more than my car." Dante smiled, actually smiled. "Maybe I like the company." She blushed. "You're dangerous, Dante Moretti. Not to you, never to you. That's what makes you dangerous." They stared at each other, the air crackling with something neither wanted to name yet. The night everything shifted, Dante took Isabella to dinner at the waterfront. Not his usual business restaurants, but a small, family-owned place where they wouldn't be disturbed. They ate and talked and laughed, and for the first time in 8 years, Dante felt light. As they walked along the harbor afterward, Isabella slipped her hand into his. It was the first time she'd initiated physical contact, and Dante's heart hammered in his chest. "Can I ask you something?" she said quietly. "Anything. What do you see when you look at me?" He stopped walking and turned to face her, the moonlight catching in her dark hair, making her eyes shine. "I see someone who would sacrifice everything for the people she loves. I see strength wrapped in kindness. I see someone who walked into danger because she had no other choice and came out still believing in good." He cupped her face gently. "I see the woman I'm falling in love with." Isabella's breath caught. "Dante, you don't have to say it back. I just needed you to know." He started to pull away, but she grabbed his wrist. "I wasn't going to say I don't feel the same." Her voice was barely a whisper. "I was going to say I'm terrified, because I do." Dante kissed her then, soft and careful, like she was something precious, and Isabella kissed him back, rising on her toes, her hands fisting in his shirt, pulling him closer. When they finally broke apart, both breathing hard, Dante pressed his forehead to hers. "I don't know how to be gentle," he confessed. "My world is violent, dangerous. I don't want to pull you into that. You're not pulling me anywhere. I'm choosing to be here." "Isabella, I know what you are, Dante. I'm not naive, but I also know what you did for me, for Luca. I know the man you are when you're with me." She traced his jaw with her fingertips. "I'm not afraid of your world. I'm only afraid of losing you." "You won't. I swear to you, you won't." 6 months later, Dante reopened Palazzo Nero Casino, not as a reminder of death, but as a celebration of life, of second chances. The grand reopening was invitation only. Palermo's elite, Dante's organization, and at the center of it all, Isabella, wearing a red dress that took his breath away. Halfway through the night, Dante led her to the roulette table, the same spot where he'd first protected her. "This is where I met you," he said, taking her hands. "I remember," she smiled. "You scared me to death. I scared 30 men to death. You, I wanted to protect." He dropped to one knee, and Isabella's eyes went wide. "Isabella, you walked into my life when I was convinced I couldn't save anyone. You showed me that love doesn't erase grief, it transforms it. You brought light back to this place, to me." He pulled out a ring, a single diamond on a platinum band, elegant and timeless. "Be my wife, be my family. Let me spend the rest of my life making sure you never doubt how loved you are." Isabella was crying, nodding before he even finished. "Yes, yes, Dante, yes." He slipped the ring on her finger and stood, kissing her, as the entire room erupted in applause. 2 years later, Dante and Isabella welcomed a daughter. They named her Valentina, after the sister he'd lost and the love that had saved him. On quiet nights, Dante would hold his daughter and tell her about the night he'd walked into Palazzo Nero and found the woman who changed everything. "Your mother was the bravest person I ever met," he'd whisper. "She didn't need saving. She saved me." And Isabella, watching from the doorway, would smile and think about how a night of terror had led to a lifetime of love. Because sometimes the most broken places can become the most beautiful. Sometimes the most dangerous men can love the most gently. And sometimes all it takes is 3 words whispered in the darkness to change everything. Don't touch her. Have you ever been protected by someone when you needed it most? Have you witnessed love that blooms from darkness into light? Where are you watching from? Drop your country or city in the comments below. If you enjoyed this story, subscribe to our channel for more tales of protection, healing, and unexpected love. Hit that notification bell so you never miss a new story. And if you want exclusive bonus content, extended scenes, and early access to our stories, consider joining our membership program. Your support helps us create more content like this. Thank you for being part of our community.